The vote was meant to be procedural. 12 civilizations, bound together by treaties older than most stars in the sector, gathered beneath the crystalline dome of the Galactic Council chamber. I sat among the junior delegates, assigned to record the outcome, never imagining I was about to witness the beginning of a historic mistake. The issue on the table was humanity. Again. Their population growth. Their territorial expansion. Their refusal to accept permanent limits imposed by those who had already claimed their share of the galaxy. The decision passed without hesitation. Unanimous. Humanity would be expelled from the Council, stripped of trade privileges, barred from shared jump routes, and cut off from technological exchange. A clean solution, the senior counselors said. A necessary one. Order had to be preserved. I remember watching the human representative, Ambassador Elias Rowan, as the verdict was announced. He didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice or plead for reconsideration. He simply listened, hands folded behind his back, eyes steady. When permission was granted for a final statement, the chamber expected defiance or desperation. Instead, Rowan smiled. "So this is the end of cooperation," he said calmly. "Not because we failed you, but because we grew faster than you were comfortable with." Councillor Threx of the Valari Dominion dismissed him with a flick of his tendrils. "Humanity has proven incompatible with galactic stability. You expand without restraint. You consume without patience. The Council cannot allow unchecked growth." Rowan nodded, as if confirming a private suspicion. "Then understand this," he replied. "By banishing us, you are not limiting humanity. You are removing the last reason we had to ask for permission." The words unsettled me, though the chamber responded with muted laughter and scattered applause. The humans were escorted out moments later, their banners removed from the hall before the next agenda item began. The Council congratulated itself on preserving balance. Trade lanes were sealed. Access codes revoked. Human vessels vanished from shared space within months. To most it looked like compliance. To me it felt like silence. I had studied human history during my training. Collapse had never ended them. Isolation had never softened them. When denied resources, they adapted. When denied allies, they innovated. When denied space, they pushed outward anyway. As the Council celebrated order restored, I could not escape a single thought, echoing louder with each passing cycle. We had not exiled humanity to protect the galaxy. We had set them free. For nearly a decade after humanity's banishment, nothing happened. No protests. No border incidents. No desperate attempts to regain Council favor. Human trade vessels disappeared from regulated space. Their diplomats withdrew from every shared world. Their colonies within Council jurisdiction were abandoned or quietly transferred. To most members, the silence confirmed success. Humanity, deprived of access and support, was retreating inward. I was not convinced. During my early career, I had spent time on Earth as part of a cultural exchange program. I had walked through cities layered atop centuries of conflict and reinvention. I had studied their wars, their collapses, their recoveries. Humans did not respond to isolation by shrinking. They responded by reorganizing. Silence for them was not surrender. It was preparation. Council intelligence reports during those years were thin and dismissive. Long-range scans showed reduced traffic near former human systems. No construction detected. No military buildup. Analysts concluded humanity was conserving resources, struggling to maintain its existing worlds without Council infrastructure. Several counselors openly mocked the idea that humans posed any future concern. Then, 15 years after the vote, the first anomaly appeared. A mining consortium from the Reth Collective reported discovering a fully operational human settlement in an unregistered system beyond established jump corridors. At first, the report was rejected as error. The system lay months away by conventional propulsion. No Council gate existed within reachable distance. By every accepted model, sustained colonization there was impossible. The follow-up survey confirmed it. 2 million inhabitants. Stable biosphere. Orbital infrastructure rivaling mid-tier Council worlds. Not a frontier outpost, but a self-sufficient population center. The chamber reacted with confusion, then irritation. Accusations followed. Humanity must have stolen gate technology. They must have violated treaties. They must have received illegal assistance. Each theory collapsed under scrutiny. Gates could not be replicated quickly. No Council member admitted to aiding them. And the settlement's power signatures were unfamiliar, incompatible with known designs. 3 years later, the second report arrived. A merchant vessel, operating without sanction, encountered a human ship far beyond mapped lanes. The captain claimed it had vanished without using a gate, folding space around itself before disappearing entirely. The council dismissed the testimony as exaggeration. The physics were implausible. The energy costs absurd. Humanity lacked the theoretical foundation to achieve such feats. I spoke once carefully during those debates. Humanity lacked that technology when we last observed them. We had not observed them since. My warning was recorded and ignored. What the council refused to consider was simple. Isolation had removed humanity's constraints. No committees. No shared regulations. No imposed limits. For a species that advanced through risk and iteration, that freedom was not a setback. It was an accelerator. The council's decision to investigate humanity's activities came too late, but pride demanded action. A diplomatic expedition was authorized, escorted by a military contingent large enough to reassure those who still believed humanity remained inferior. I was assigned to the delegation as an observer, my earlier warnings now inconveniently remembered. The journey to Seoul took 3 months using conventional routes. During that time, intelligence briefings grew increasingly fragmented. Reports contradicted one another. Sensor data failed to align with known physics. Every projection relied on outdated assumptions. Humanity, the models insisted, should have plateaued. As we crossed the outer boundary of the Sol system, our sensors began to fail. Gravitational distortions rippled across space, bending scans into meaningless noise. Energy signatures appeared, vanished, then reappeared in impossible configurations. Then the structures resolved. Hundreds of platforms encircled the system, each massive, each armed, each positioned with mathematical precision. They formed a defensive lattice unlike anything in council records. This was not a border patrol. It was a warning. A transmission cut through the bridge. A human voice, calm and unmistakably confident. Unidentified vessels, you are approaching restricted space. State your intent. Counselor Draxus demanded immediate passage, citing authority and precedent. The reply came seconds later. Authority acknowledged. Permission denied. You may submit a request. Silence followed, heavy and stunned. The counselor complied. We were granted passage under strict conditions. Weapons powered down. Flight path locked. Deviation classified as hostile action. The tone was polite. The control was absolute. Our destination was Mars. I expected domes, limited terraforming, signs of gradual recovery. Instead, the planet below us was green. Oceans shimmered beneath cloud systems. Forests stretched across continents. Terraforming on such a scale should have taken centuries. Humanity had accomplished it in less than 2 decades. We landed at Olympus Station, a city built into the largest volcano in the system. Towers climbed the mountainside like living metal. The spaceport was filled with ships bearing unfamiliar markings. Human designs dominated, but they were not alone. Humanity had not isolated itself. It had become a hub. The welcoming party awaited us. At its center stood Ambassador Elias Rowan. He had aged, but the ease in his posture spoke of confidence earned, not assumed. Welcome, he said, extending a hand. You've traveled a long way to see what happens when humanity is left alone. Counselor Draxus demanded explanations. Technology. Expansion. Authority. Rowan listened patiently, then gestured toward the world beyond the viewport. We didn't ask for permission, he said. We didn't wait for approval. We built what we needed to survive. That was when the realization settled in. Humanity had not returned to rejoin the galaxy. They had returned to be impossible to ignore. The formal discussions were held within Olympus Station, in a hall carved directly from volcanic stone and reinforced with materials our scanners could not identify. Transparent walls revealed the transformed world below, green and alive, a constant reminder of what humanity had achieved without oversight. The setting was deliberate. Humanity no longer needed to impress. They needed us to understand. Ambassador Rowan spoke first, not as a supplicant but as a host. He outlined humanity's path after banishment with clinical clarity. Freed from council regulation, they prioritized self-sufficiency. Energy production without quotas. Terraforming without delays. Expansion without permission. 12 systems were settled within the reach of conventional drives alone. The rest followed once their breakthrough was complete. The fold drive changed everything. Temporary corridors through space, calculated in real time, requiring no fixed infrastructure. Risky. Inefficient at first. Perfect for a species accustomed to iteration. Within a decade, Every human vessel possessed independent faster-than-light capability. Dependence vanished overnight. Council representatives objected. Such growth was destabilizing, dangerous, unsustainable. Rowan listened then nodded. That is what you said before, he replied. The difference now is that your concern no longer determines our survival. Another counselor accused humanity of building a rival empire. Rowan corrected them gently. We built an alternative. Participation is voluntary. Growth is earned. No civilization is forced to shrink so others may feel secure. I watched the realization spread across the delegation. Humanity had solved the problem the Council was designed to manage by stepping entirely outside it. Worse, other species were following. Ships in orbit belonged to civilizations previously denied membership or constrained into stagnation. Humanity had become the center of a different gravitational pull. Counselor Draxus asked the final question. What do you want from us? Rowan paused, choosing his words carefully. Nothing, he said at last. No apology. No submission. No approval. We will trade if it benefits both sides. We will cooperate where interests align. But we will never again place our future in the hands of those who fear our growth. It was not a threat. It was a boundary. As the delegation prepared to depart, Rowan pulled me aside. You spoke once years ago, he said quietly. You were ignored. I admitted. You're welcome here, he replied. If you decide you no longer wish to manage decline. I left Seoul with a certainty that unsettled me. The Council had believed it was preserving order by banishing humanity. Instead, it had created a civilization unconstrained by precedent, united by necessity and motivated by freedom. Humanity did not seek to rule the galaxy. They had simply learned how to live without it.